Hi everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel and another paper crafting video tutorial. Today we're going to talk all about Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated Inks with a super fun project, and I am going to show you the inks in all of the Positively Saturated trios to date. And for reference, this is May 2025, and then we are going to create some fun projects. So I am starting with my ink trios. I keep them sorted in these acrylic organizers in some IKEA Alex drawers. And we are going to be using this layered Rosette stencil set from Simon Says Stamp for my project today. And we're just going to go through every color of the rainbow using these inks to stencil the rosette. Now there's a lot of different ways to create the rosette. Obviously today my focus is on the inks, so I'm going to keep within the trio for my rosettes. And once we have all of the rosettes for all of the colors, that's when we're going to make the magic happen. I am not going to ink all of the rosettes on camera since it is basic stenciling where you take your blending brush, you stencil. This is a 4-piece stencil set and it creates a flat rosette. That is something that I think is amazing for us as card makers. If you don't want one of the dimensional rosettes, which are absolutely incredible and super fun for home decor, but can be kind of a pain to put in the mail, this stencil set gives you the look of the rosettes without actually having to do the dimension. So I am applying all of my different colors here. You can see the rosettes starting to take shape, starting to build up in color and intensity. I actually used my lightest color twice. I kind of smartened up as I was working on this, and so I switched the order of my stencils to do 1 and then 3, then 2 and 4. That way I was using the light, the medium shade from the trio of inks, and then the dark shade. That was just what worked really well for me. Now, something that I love about this stencil die combo from Simon Says Stamp is that you do have the ability to die cut the rosette shape as it is right here. I mean, look how cool that is. You can die cut the smaller rosette there in the center, or you can even die cut the center. So let's say you want to ink this up in a couple of different colorways. You want to die cut it using those dies and then piece it together to have a multicolor rosette. You could very, very easily do that. Now, none of the products I'm showing today are new at all. These all might be things that you either have in your stash, or maybe you haven't seen them used and you do want to pick up a couple of things, or you were curious about what all of the different colors looked like, etc. This is a video to really highlight and showcase some fun ideas that you can create with your ink collections. Now, I personally love the Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated inks. One of the questions I get asked quite often is, what is your favorite ink brand? And I don't really have a super great answer for that. I have like maybe a top 3 to 4 inks that are my favorite, but I tend to like colors within each brand. But I will say across the board, Simon Says Stamp has amazing colors. There's a lot of things you can do with them. There are re-inkers for these inks, and there are cubes available as well. So there are a lot of different options for these inks. Plus, I think they blend beautifully. I think that you can do some really fun direct to paper techniques with them, all kinds of things. I use them probably, I would say 80 to 85% of the time. So either these or a distress ink, but I kind of count distress inks from Tim Holtz in a different category as more technique driven inks. Okay, I have gone ahead, ink blended all of my rosettes, and I want to show you each of these, and I am going to show it to you in real time. So this is Cheeky, Blush, and Pucker. This was one of the original trios of ink. Next up, we have Rhubarb, Apple, and Cranberry. This is a newer color trio. I think it came out at the end of 2024. Love these colors. This is a darker color combo in the reds, Punch, Sangria, and Cabernet. And I keep all of my inks kind of in my drawer units just like this. Carnation, Peony, and Rose. So we're moving into some pinks now. I think I did these out of order. I store them pink and then red, you know, rainbow. Guava, watermelon, and cherry. This is one of my all-time favorites. Watermelon is one of my very, very favorite colors. I love watermelon. Then we have bubblegum, sweets, and taffy. And I call this a pinky purple. It's magenta. All right, I'm going to put these back in my unit and we're going to move on to orange. Clay, terracotta, and brick. This is a wonderful dark, it kind of bridges the gap, I guess I want to say, between orange and red. Your Southwest colors. Then we have melon, cantaloupe, and sherbet. These are my favorite oranges. These three right here, I love those orange inks. Next, we have another orange color combo. These are called peachy, grapefruit, and mandarin. Then we have kind of, I would call these our dark oranges, almost into our dark red. Nutmeg, paprika, and allspice. We have our spice colors. Then we're going to have our two yellow combos. First, our brighter yellow combo. Lemonade, Sunbeam, and Citrine. My camera does not like these. It blows it out really bad, but just think of sunshine. Then we have my favorite yellow trio. Butter is my all-time favorite. Zest and honey is my other favorite. Butter and honey are my two favorite yellows. Love these. Then we're going to move on to kind of our minty colors. We have Spring, Dublin, and Lucky. Our teals are going to be Tide Pool, Tropic, and Aegean. I know I say it wrong. We have our greens, Celery, Limelicious, and Perfection. And we have a lot of different greens to choose from, which I totally appreciate. We also have Sprout, Fairway, and Field. These are my no, these are not quite yet. We have Aspen and Sage and Pine, which I do love, but Cabbage, Artichoke, and Kale are my favorite greens. And again, you use different ones for different things. Seafoam, Surf, and Ocean, always good ones. Beautiful dark aquas. We had bright aquas, now our darks, Dew, Mist, and Raindrop. We have our blues. This is going to be Marine, Cadet, and Royal. Oops, and I dropped my ink pad and made a mess, which is awesome. We're just going to clean that up real quick. I love those blues. Our darker blues, Morning, Twilight, and Galaxy. And I would call these like lavender blues. Our darker blues are going to be Sky, Dusk, and Night. And then we're going to move on to some purples. Let me see if I can get my Rosette. I stuck them all in here so I wouldn't lose them. Lilac, Orchid, and Amethyst. We have Heather, Violet, and Iris. This is a little bit darker, but still bright. And then we have our deep color, like our rich colors, our jewel tones. Petunia, Pansy, and Aster. Our grays, Flannel, Earl, and Charcoal. I love that flannel. It's a perfect light gray. Our brown neutrals. We have Latte, Cappuccino, and Mocha. Our newer browns that came out at the end of 2024 that I love. Cookie, Gingerbread, and Cocoa. Yes, they came out around Christmas time and they are perfect, but they're just great brown neutrals. And then the rest of our neutrals, which are gray browns, are Fawn, Earl, and Woodsy. And look at all of these wonderful, colorful layered rosettes. Now it's time to make something with these pieces. I pulled out, I think about 8 of the rosettes to make an Inspire rosette banner, perfect for a craft room. You could always use any word that you like, or even use your name. I'm going to use Inspire. Yes, I tried to pick something kind of long so that I could use up a lot of the rosettes, and I used an exclamation point so that I could have my purple in my rainbow. But I think this would be perfect draped on shelves. Just put some little hooks up just to help decorate your craft room. It's really quick and easy to make. Super easy. And you could even do this. Maybe you want to do a cute little teacher gift, or you are a teacher and you want to decorate your bulletin boards in your classroom, or maybe you're a librarian and you want to do read, or you have a library at home and you want to have something fun there. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Birthday parties, all the things. I am using the Tim Holtz Sign Painter Alphabet and my favorite Simon Says stamp, Nocturne ink, to stamp the words for my banner. I will be using this stamp set again for a couple more banners later on in the video, because as I was working and trying to use the majority of these wonderful rosettes that I colored to demonstrate and show off the Simon Says stamp inks, I realized I wanted to create more projects, or I had more than enough to create multiple projects. I'm using my favorite thin foam adhesive strips from Simon Says Stamp on the back of the letters to give them a bit of dimension. Now, if you wanted to, you could stencil multiple rosettes for each part of this banner. Go ahead and adhere them together, and you could pop up that center portion and then pop up the letter on top of that, just making them a little more dimensional. I kept mine super quick and easy and showy. I did black letters so that they would pop on the colorful rosette banner that we're creating, and we're going to use some Simon Says Stamp black and white baker's twine to really show off this set. I am piecing all of my foam on the back of these letters. They do die cut so awesome. I love that they kind of just look like these paint brush stroke letters. Simon Says Stamp has partnered with Tim Holtz to do dies for quite a few of his stamp sets, and this is one of them, and I highly recommend it. I'm using a black pen to make some little marks on my letters, because as I was looking at this, I didn't want to accidentally punch my holes to string these onto the twine in the wrong place. You're not going to see that little black mark in the finished project because I will be punching through it with the Crop-A-Dile. When I'm working with each of these, I love these thin foam adhesive strips from Simon Says Stamp. They're my absolute favorite, perfect for sentiment strips, for creating shakers, especially when you have a thin area. And if you have a shaped letter or shaped shaker, you can pull it off the backing sheet, pull the backing paper off of the strip, and curve it around edges so easily. I can't recommend these enough. I always stock up and have tons of these on hand because they are one of my most used adhesives. Then I am going to poke holes, 2 little holes in each one of my rosettes, and coming from the back, we are going to thread it through each one of these rosettes to build our little banner here. This would be fun. I mean, you could even make it for like a little business, or if you have a booth at a trade show or something like that. I thought about doing one that said Simon Says Stamp, and then I thought it was going to be very long, and so I opted not to do it for this video, but I do think that would be really cute. I'm just going to continue assembling this, making sure I've punched holes, making sure that I put these in the right order and that I spell my word correctly, and string them all together. Again, I can't stress enough how fast this project was. I think it would be perfect to customize for kiddos' birthdays, baby showers, all graduation parties this time of year. Do it in graduation colors. You could put your graduate's name on this. You could put the graduation date. There are sign painter numbers in this stamp set, and there are dies for those as well. So imagine all of the fun 2025 or if you're watching this in a different year, think of all of the fun ideas you could create with this idea just by customizing it with your favorite color of ink. Okay, I just strung that through, tied a little loop at the end so that could be hooked on like some little command hooks or something. And I'm going to make sure they're evenly spaced. I'm going to go ahead on the other end and I'm just going to double up my twine, make a little knot. I didn't really like that one. It was kind of too long, I think. I tried to make them as even as possible. Snip off that excess and there is your banner. Easy as that. That's the basic banner. Now, I did have tons and tons of rosettes because there are a lot of amazing positively saturated trios in the Simon Says Stamp collection. So I am going to take my favorite crackle background and some flannel ink, and on 4 by 5¼ inch backgrounds, I am going to stamp this crackle background just to give it a little something. We want the focus to still be on these beautiful rosettes that we created. Now, full disclosure, I am using the small inner part. That's what I die cut from the bigger rosette. All of the bigger parts I still have. I'll hold on to them. Maybe I'll make something with them. You know, maybe I won't, whatever. But I did go ahead and pick like 10 of my favorites and die cut these smaller little rosettes. We're going to create 2 cards, one with like a red, orange, yellow kind of combo, and one with blues and purples and aqua. I just kind of tried to break it up that way. I also took my Fairway ink, went direct to paper on some white cardstock, die cut it with a stem die. I think it might be Pretty Peonies, any kind of flower die that you have that has a stem, and I die cut the stems from it. So everything you're seeing today is created with the Simon Says Stamp inks. Then I'm using a birthday stamp set from Simon Says Stamp and stamping Hope Your Day is Awesome somewhere here on the background, and I'm just using my MISTI so that I can create multiples. If you wanted to, you could even create more than this simply by die cutting more flowers. Then I am going to build my little flower garden along the bottom. In this case, no additional leaves, greenery are needed. These are super clean and simple birthday cards. That's what I was creating. We're popping up our rosettes. We're using the rosettes as flowers, kind of a modern flower, if you will, here. But I think that's something fun where you can take a product that is made for something else and you can make it work as a flower. I'm a big fan of products that you can use in multiple ways to really get the most bang for your buck. So you could even hand cut stems for your flowers if you want to. I have lots and lots of different flowers in my stash. You can even just shop your stash. See what you have that you can, make work for this. Okay, so we're just going to do 5 stems per card. I did really like that this particular die from this set die cut 3 stems at a time. So if you have a die that die cuts more than 1 stem at a time, I do think it's kind of a time saver. I'm overlapping my flowers so that they're all at different heights right underneath Hope Your Day is Awesome. Now, each card is going to feature another sentiment up at the top. We are going to stamp and emboss that on a black cardstock, the silvery black cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. That's going to give a nice little bit of contrast and interest to the card. But if you wanted to, you could simply stamp the rest of your greeting right at the top. Let's go ahead and add all of our flower stems and flowers to the second card, and then take our black cardstock and stamp. I'm using Simon Says Stamp embossing ink for this. I heat embossed with white embossing powder and then die cut with the coordinating die. Popped up, it's going to draw your eye into that bold black with all of this beautiful color. Now, you guys know I am not your biggest clean and simple girl. I love a clean and simple card, but I just can't ever leave it at that. Where a lot of people could probably leave your background plain, I can't. That's why we have a little crackle, and I can't leave my cards without some sort of embellishment. I'm going to grab several of my favorite Simon Says Stamp Pawsitively Dazzling Gems, and I have all the assortments linked in the description below, but I basically just tried to somewhat match the color to the flower, but it didn't have to be exact. I just wanted them to be multicolor, and some are going to have 2 gems, some are going to have 3, some are going to have 1. I like it to be very not matchy, if that is even a word, and I'm only going to keep the gems on the flowers. I really felt like we didn't need a whole bunch of additional stuff going on these cards. You can see that when these panels are adhered to the white A2 card base, there is a natural little border all the way around because the panel is slightly smaller. And I love that because it provides an instant frame. We're going to go ahead and add our gems to our second card. And again, you can see that whole stack of rosettes over there on the right side. There's even a couple more, I think, out of frame. I could have made additional cards with these. In fact, you could make tons of cards with these rosettes. I was just trying, or I am trying to show in this video, just some other things you can do with these particular stenciled or inked and stenciled pieces other than card making with your paper crafting supplies. I absolutely love like dimensional type decor things, and anything you can make at home and totally custom is right down this girl's alley, and I know it's down you guys' alley too. So I noticed that what I had left was very fallish themed with my neutrals and dark oranges, and also kind of patriotic themed, kind of a happy, funny accident how this worked out. And because of that, I thought, well, I can kind of showcase some different seasons or holidays type things. If you wanted to, you could take the black and the oranges and do really fun, spooky Halloween ones. You could do pinks and reds for Valentine's Day, pastels for Easter, whatever the case may be. Greens for St. Patty's Day. You guys get the idea. But with what I had left, I really felt like I could do a cute little fall banner, and I could do a cute little 4th of July banner. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to upcycle these just a little bit. So where our first banner was very basic on the twine, the next 2 banners that I am creating have some fun embellishment to them. Starting with, I have threaded up a sharp tip doll making needle. It's long. And it has a very sharp tip to it with some of the Lawn Fawn white twine. I wanted something very thin that will pierce these wool felt balls, and I've got red, white, and blue ones, and then I'm threading through the rosettes. It's super quick and easy. You can grab these wool felt balls from, craft stores. You could even use pom-poms. There's other sites online that you can use to get these. If you are needing a source, please drop me a note and let me know. And then I just looped the ends like I did with the first banner. I mean, it's so cute, very tiny, but I think it would be absolutely adorable. Even if, if you're serving a cake dessert or something for the 4th of July, you could have it, maybe stick it on some tall dowel sticks into your cake or something, into your display, and it would be adorable because it's kind of a short little banner. Now, for my fall banner, I also have some leftover wood beads that, full disclosure, I had purchased from Amazon or somewhere a while back. They were not what I had intended to buy, but purely a happy accident. I actually used them on my felt bunny tutorial, which I'll link to here. I'd used them for finishing that, and I still had quite a few left over, and I was like, ooh, I like the natural wood for this project. And then I thought, you know what else I have left over that I ended up never using for anything? Some of my felt leaves from my felt pumpkin house from Spellbinders. You can grab that die set here at Simon Says Stamp, as well as some of the felt. And I thought, oh my gosh, I think these would be cute just strung on here. I only had a couple left. They did end up both being the same color, but I was like, oh, I kind of like that. So I'm going to figure out how to string these together. And yes, I did end up having to kind of finagle it, work it around. How I started it, I didn't love. Most of the time I was coming up from the back of the rosette and then having my loop in the front. I found I didn't like that quite as much for this one. If that particular rosette letter was going to have more of the accents. Does that make sense? Like if it was going to have the little wool felt or the wool felt leaf, then I wanted it to come up from or go in from the front. You'll see what I mean. So again, I have a big doll making needle. It's making it easy to feed this Simon Says Stamp black and white baker's twine through it. I did go back to the black and white baker's twine. I liked it with this. I kind of auditioned a couple of different things. I do think the natural color of Lawn Fawn twine would be really cute here too. But this is another little short banner. This is also something for all of my card making gals out there and guys who like to take stylized photos of your cards and share on social media. Both the USA and this fall one would be super cute little things that you could, use as props, photo props. So another use for these cute little banners. Aren't the little wood beads cute as well? Let me know if you guys need a source for that as well, and I can provide that to you, because even though those were an accident and I didn't mean to buy those, I have loved them and I'm thinking I might need more to make more banners. Okay, you guys, so this is how I got so many projects out of those rosettes that I made. I still had quite a few leftover rosettes, and of course I had the larger pieces from all the small ones that I cut for the cards that can be used for something. I even think they could be used like just to hang off the edges of cards and all kinds of different things. But I did end up being able to complete 5 full projects, and I did showcase every single one of the Simon Says Stamp Pawsitively saturated ink trios in this video. Definitely check the description of this video for more information, and thank you guys so much for watching today. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. We'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone! Thank you so much for joining me today for another paper crafting tutorial. I love being able to share with this incredible community of crafters. I want to give a huge shout out and special thank you to my amazing Patreon members. If you're interested in joining Patreon, please click the link in the description underneath the video here on YouTube. Patreon is a private community where you can support more of what I do. There is exclusive content, information, and behind-the-scenes content. Top-tier members will receive a handmade birthday card during your birthday month, access to D-Stash, and monthly exclusive lives, plus so much more. We would love to have you join our growing community.